What is up, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today we are doing episode 4 of the United States of America. In the previous episode, basically, for one thing, one of the biggest projects that we started to spend money on was a Hyperloop from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Technically, it's called the Los Angeles to San Francisco line. The line starts in Los Angeles and then goes back all the way up to San Francisco and then comes all the way back, so it directly connects two of the largest cities in the state of California. And then in the last episode, we also commenced the construction of several nuclear power plants. That way we can start moving into a green economy. I think in this one we may or may not start the construction of a couple of more. I usually always like to have at least a couple of energy projects going on simultaneously. Instead of a nuclear, I'm actually going to go ahead and initiate some solar construction. So let's go ahead and start this episode off with spending about 20 to 30 billion dollars on solar power plants in the southern part of Texas. Why am I building the solar plants in the state of Texas, even though the solar plants are the ones that sort of failed out? Well, I mean, Texas is the southernmost state, and then I can get more electricity out of Texas. But if you also build let me go ahead and do 5,000 people on this construction instead of fully funding it. I think we could afford getting the 3 in Texas, and then we can go ahead and spend a little bit more on some in Florida. So let's go ahead and build some in Florida and then see what we're going to be getting out of Florida. 2.32 terawatts and then 2.33 terawatts. We actually get a little bit from that southernmost plant. Let's see what we get out of Texas. 2.33, 2.07, and 2.07. So we get 2, 4, and then about 6.5. Looks like 6.5, and then 8.7 looks like, and then that is going to be about 11. So I think we're getting about 11 terawatts off of this power. If I was actually wrong in my math there, go ahead and correct me. If I can't do simple math, where the hell am I going to get in life? Let's go ahead and look. We have a deficit of 3.39%, so I think we're going to raise a tax or two just to get that deficit down so we can start paying off our debt. So let's go ahead and look at our tax situation, see what we can create. And then let's actually look at my growth rate. Growth rate is 0.86%. So we need to start initiating some growth. So we do have a growing GDP. So we can actually probably get our GDP up to about $20 trillion in the coming months. So we need to go over to taxation. It's probably getting killed because of the company turnover tax. So if I kill the industrial pollution tax, that should actually give us a little bit of growth starting out. So that's going to kill $9.1 billion, $9,122 million. Let's go ahead and add this to a reform, and I think Congress would definitely like this, so we're going to call this the Growth Act of... We're going to call it the Growth Act. So we're going to create the reform, and let's go ahead and increase the tax on large fortunes. I think that should get approval by the Congress. Let's go ahead and add that to the reform, just so we can start making some more revenue off of the large fortune tax. Now let's go back and see what we can reduce. So I would want... Let's go ahead and bleed off some of the company tax. So we're going to lower this to 19. I know I said at the beginning of the series that I would only reduce this by about 1 a year. So just to kind of get that extra growth, we're going to go ahead and bleed this off a little bit, just so we can start getting some of that economic growth. This will also get the support of the Republicans. That way the reform itself, basically, yeah, we get about 71% of both houses to come in and support our piece of legislation. So that is awesome to see. that we are getting some more money off of our taxes. Let's see what else. What can I increase? I could start fighting some income inequality. Let's go ahead and increase the high bracket. It's going to make a couple of guys mad, a couple of what do you call it, rich people mad, but I think it's just so they can actually pay a fair share in terms of taxes. So let's go ahead and add that to the Growth Act. And I think we should be making some money off of those reforms. So we bled off like about maybe $20 billion in terms of the company tax. And then if we can, I think I'm gonna go ahead and send that through. I'm gonna try to start increasing the large fortune tax. So if I can actually increase the large fortune tax, then we're going to be able to reduce our deficit pretty much significantly. It looks like our attempt at spying on Gabe actually failed. India network offer rejected. Damn. Apparently Gabe is on point. He's fighting corruption, so it looks like that his ministers do not want to help me out, most likely because we have very bad relations with the Republic. Let's go ahead and look to see what our actual relations are. Actually, I do not have God and Spy. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get a God and Spy in here in the future, just that way I can actually kind of look at it. Usually don't cheat unless I have to, so it's just a little bit better if I'm able to kind of like look at the numbers. That way I can know exactly what to do in terms of like diplomatic relations or something like that. So let's continue to go on, and then we are going to be going to July, August, September, October, and October is going to be the next. Let's go ahead and look. Our debt is actually going up. Deficit, and then 10-1-20, so we're going to be going to the month of October here, and then that is going to be the end of the episode. So we're just going to continue to go on and see what happens. Alright, and we are back August 2nd, 2021. So we actually had a forest fire in the state of California. So let's go ahead and see what that damage was. Let's go ahead and get that guy to shut up real quick. $8.36 billion after this wildfire in Southern California. Let's go ahead and give them $10 billion in relief. Again, the reason that I give them way more than they actually ask for is because sometimes whenever you give them the exact amount, I think the game kind of accounts that some people are embezzling the money that's coming in. So if you were to give them like what was it, like 8 point something, so if you give them that exact amount of money, or if you give them even maybe $100 or $200 million off, then that money will not reach. If you give them even a couple $100 million like above the amount that they asked for, they usually are not able to get that because of, I think it has to be corruption. It has to be some sort of corruption metric that we're not aware of. So we have a hurricane that is on its way to the United States coast, and it disappears. Eversim, if you're watching this, can you please fix this graphical glitch? Like, this is just annoying that I'm not able to track these hurricanes whenever they're coming to shore. That is just really annoying that I like, because I mean, hurricanes were usually the coolest thing to kind of watch come up the coast, and you can kind of guess where they're gonna go. But now I'm gonna go ahead and start doing this every time I see a hurricane spawn. We're gonna do this. Let's go ahead and build a refugee camp north of New York City. That way we can actually, I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's probably the best course of action whenever you see a hurricane coming toward you. Even if you live in even if you were playing as the United States, like if usually you're gonna have to evacuate somewhere, multiple states if at that. So if you can build one refugee camp, and then if just as soon as you see that hurricane, I mean, I'm getting like several days ahead of time. So build these camps whenever you see those things coming ashore, because that is because I don't know, just building it right as the hurricane hits. I have never had I've never had like luck doing that. So if I can actually build these things like ahead of time, especially if you can see the hurricane coming, that's going to be the best course of action. So yeah, humanitarian people actually like that I'm building in a refugee camp. I don't know, it's because they see that the hurricane is coming. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll be ready. We'll be ready whenever that happens. What are our relations with Argentina? We actually have light red relations with Argentina. And then with Brazil, what are we gonna do? They have Jair Bolsonaro in office. So with the Trump administration in the previous series, I was able to actually do business with Argentina, because I usually go to Argentina for bauxite. But for the purposes of this episode, or not this episode, but the series, I am not going to be doing that much business with Jair Bolsonaro. The reason is because he's a very, very right-wing president in Argentina, and just to kind of make Gabe happy, I'm going to go ahead and refuse to do business with the president of Brazil until we can get a new one installed. And did I say installed? Oh, I'm not. I didn't say that at all. So let's not go over to Secret Services, and then let's not see whenever the Brazilian elections are. 10/26/2022, so we will keep that in note, that Brazil has a big federal election in 2022. Are we gonna do anything? I don't know, but we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. Let's go over to CIA. Let's go ahead and reform our networks. So let's go ahead and say yes, and then we're going to go to Belarus. We're going to say no priority in Belarus, and in China, we're going to do a cyber attack preparation in China. In India, we could do cyber attack preparation. Indonesia, we're going to say no priority. Iran, we're going to get their passwords. Mexico, we're going to dismantle terrorist groups. We're going to be launching some anti-terrorist operations in Mexico. No priority goals in North Korea. Pakistan, what are our relations with Pakistan? Light red. And then we're going to do political spying in Pakistan. Russia, we can do cyber attack preparation. And then in Saudi Arabia, we're going to do some political spying. We're going to get some dirt against the kingdom, see what kind of actions we can take against them. World Athletics, go ahead and say yes to that, and then let's continue to go on. And the hurricane reaches the coast of New Jersey. We do finally see that the hurricane has hit the coast of the United States. Hurricane Josephine is what it's called. I can't wait for Hurricane Politics Gaming. I want them to name a hurricane after me. Come on, Eversim, do something about me. Let's go ahead and order that evacuation. They're going to go ahead and go up north, and only 3 days into the construction of that 400,000. Whoa! Whoa, we are not going to be able to hold any more refugees. We only built one camp. 400,942 people are fleeing the hurricane in southern New Jersey. That is a massive number. That is the largest refugee caravan that I've seen in this game. Let's go ahead and continue to go on. Maryland, Delaware are now being hit by the hurricane. We're going to go ahead and order the evacuation. 200,000. We already ran out of room at our camp, so we're gonna have to go ahead and build another one in Pennsylvania. We're gonna go ahead and build that one in Pennsylvania. I guess 1 million to 1.5 million is needed for any hurricane that is heading toward the United States, which is going to be 3 refugee camps. Obviously, again, this is why building these refugee camps at the moment that these hurricanes hit. I only got ahead, like, how many days did I get ahead of this? 8 days. So I guess as soon as you see that hurricane spawn, that is a very good idea. We got 8 days a head start on these refugee camps. So I really want Eversim to kind of fix the amount of time, because the thing about it is that the hospitals in the COVID gameplay, the hospitals basically take only like 3 to 5 days to complete. But how come it takes a refugee camp 14 days to be completed? But I think it's because of the amount of people that it can hold, because it can hold 500,000 people each. So it's probably because of the amount of people that it can hold. But then at the same time, maybe it should take like a week, because I mean we saw that that China, was able to build a hospital like within a couple of weeks. Holy crap, there's 2 hurricanes, 2 typhoons heading toward, where are they going? One's heading towards Sri Lanka, and then the other, it looks like it's going toward India. So massive development right now in India. Oh, we have really good relations with Indonesia. Okay, so with the Republicans always have bad, but fortunately so far, see that evacuation was useless. It was a useless evacuation. Refugee camp, we're only a couple of days from completion, so people are gonna have a place to stay. But unfortunately, we do have another 400,000 people that are going to be basically out on the streets. Can you imagine ordering an evacuation like that, and then, 400,000 people, nearly 500,000 people? See, I shouldn't have even ordered the evacuation. It's not even that strong of a hurricane. We need a way to be able to kind of gauge the severity of these hurricanes, because, whenever they're coming in, we're able to see, like, how strong it's going to be, what category it's going to be, and then there's no way to kind of gauge the hurricanes that are coming in on the coast. So I think that's a really good idea for Eversim to do in the 2021 edition, or any future edition or update even, whenever let's go ahead and forgive $5 billion to the IMF. And let's see, we will not write off any debt to the poorest nations. That is unfortunate indeed. Journey to Mars, we're gonna say hold on to that. And days unoccupied, 0 or 8. Do we have people heading into the refugee camp, or did they already go home? Looks like those refugees disappeared. Goodbye, Hurricane Josephine. Summit request by the President of Mexico. Let's go ahead and accept that. $400 million. So we're just going to be getting a ton of money off of that, off of the, what do you call it? The disaster. And about a month away from the end of this episode. Let's go ahead and see 3.41. Let's go ahead and go to revenue. 4.5. Let's go ahead and see if I can accept that. Democrats would like that. Let's go ahead and do it at 0.5%. We're gonna go ahead and accept that. Just submit it as is. Hopefully we don't get a riot. And we actually get a lot of approval off of that. Before I want to go ahead and go over to, let's go to head of state. And actually we're gonna consider this. We're gonna consider this right here. We actually have really good relations with this country. So let's go to order a poll. Let's do basic voting poll intentions and then opinion poll of the head of state's actions. And then we're going to go ahead and confirm that. And then let's go to Europe and let's look at Lithuania. We actually have really good relations with the Baltic states, all dark green relations with the Baltic states. And then we do have very good relations with the Republic of Lithuania. So let's go ahead and go over here. This is the Organization of Economic. Let's go over to organizations just to kind of confirm. I thought I knew the name of it. Oh, it's not letting me click on it. Organization of Economic Community Development. I probably just did not get that name correct. But we're going to go ahead and accept Lithuania's application to join this organization. And then we're going to attend that meeting with the Republic of Mexico. Actually, it's not the Republic of Mexico, it is the United States of Mexico. So not only does the North America have one United States, it has two United States. The formal name of Mexico is, again, the United States of Mexico, because a fun fact about history, let's look at this real quick. This is gold. They want to sell me some gold, 2 tons of gold. I mean, actually, let's go ahead and move that up to 5 tons of gold. We're going to buy some 5 tons of gold. We're going to do you at 26. We're going to do you at 2 years. 10 tons of gold. All right, I can actually do 10 tons of gold. That will actually get me to be self-sufficient in gold. That way I can actually, I think it's like the fuel cell batteries, they actually consume gold. You know what, that just so we can have some production, room, I'm gonna go ahead and order some 25 tons worth of gold. They can actually support that, so they're producing 74, so that that's gonna leave them with like 49 tons. And then we're gonna go ahead and call this the gold reserves agreement. It's going to be the first time the United States has imported gold from a foreign country in a while. It's worth about over $500 million, $668 million. So then we're going to go ahead and negotiate that, and they should accept it. And then termination is on September 9th, 2023. Your interlocutor has accepted this agreement, and then this agreement has now been signed. Propose a military alliance. Let's go ahead and offer a non-aggression pact. They refuse the opportunity for a non-aggression pact. Now let's go ahead and offer him a coffee. Try to propose that again, and that is refused. So we will go on, and we are now on the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks that we will never forget. I just kind of, voting intentions, survey completed. Let's go over to head of state, look at the census results. And if the election were held right now, the Democrats would get 50.9% of the vote. Republicans would get 23%. The United States Green Party Coalition would get 13%, and any independents would get 12%. But that still leaves us with a majority. And then along, we can actually, in terms of like the midterm elections, it is actually one of the best case scenarios, because I don't know why the independents have become so strong in Power and Revolution now, but what you can see now is that the Green Party Coalition is one of the best ways to have a mandate without exactly getting the the amount of without getting like a supermajority in the House of Representatives and the Senate. Basically, you could go as low as like 40%, and then as long as the Green Party coalition gets between like 10 to 20%, even 5% of the vote in a midterm election, that is actually one of the best case scenarios. So we're going to be depending on at least getting as much of this support as we can, and then hoping that the Green Party coalition can get a considerable amount of seats, even if it's eating away at my own gains in the House of Representatives and the Senate. That basically has given me a supermajority in several gameplays before. So we are going to be hoping that the Green Party coalition can actually get some votes and seats, and a considerable amount of seats in the House. And we are actually going to support them in the election. So we're going to hopefully form a coalition with the Green Party coalition, and they usually will, because that will basically allow us to pass anything that we want past 2022. So that is going to be the goal once midterm elections come around. Let's go ahead and continue to go on. We're going to be considering building up some military equipment. Let's go ahead and go to the United States, and let's go to 3 of these anti-missile batteries. That's going to put us at 70 missile batteries. Hopefully we do not get a riot because of this, or protests or something like that. Let's see what the reaction to that. We just need to build up very small incremental amounts of military equipment on large fortunes. And then before we actually close out this episode, we're coming up on the end of the month. Let's go over to our space program, and then we're going to go to Venus. We're going to call this the Axios Vogel program. Axios Vogel. We're going to fully fund it $1.309 billion. We're going to fully fund it 100%. And then that gives us about $131 million that it's going to cost us. Let's go ahead and create that. Actually, god damn it. Funds recovered. We didn't even approve it. Let's go over to Venus again. And then let's do exploration robots. Exploration robot landing. Space robot landing. With an exploration robot. Let's go ahead and, all right, this is going to be it. Axios Vogel. We're going to fully fund it 100%, $500 million per year, and then $5.28 billion over the next 5 years. And then we are going to create, that is going to be the first rover to Venus. And then we're going to go to Europa. And then on Europa, we're gonna do a space probe with the return samples to Earth. Fully fund it. And then we're gonna go ahead and call this... What are we gonna call it? Europa... We're just gonna call it the Europa Lander. Fully funded 100%. $665 million over every year, and then $6.6 billion over the next 5 years. 122 months once it commences, and then it's going to launch on September 3rd, 2024. See if we can get it anywhere closer. Next launch window is after 4:30. We're gonna do August 1st. 69%. We're gonna shoot for about $15 billion. At least we're gonna double the budget. So we're gonna approve the program. We're gonna increase the budget. We're gonna double it. So we're gonna double it to about $12 billion of funding, and then see how low we can get that risk factor. If we can't get it low enough, just so we can launch it in 2023, then we'll go ahead and move the launch date to 2024. Abandon the Axios, and then creation of the Axios, creation of the Europa Lander, and then beginning of the Europa Lander space program. And then let's go ahead and go to September 20th, which is my birthday. Prepare for liftoff. And then let's go to Europa Lander, 70%. Still waiting on the approval of my administration to approve that funding double. Because we're doubling the amount of funding that it's getting. Don't know if we're going to be able to do this by the end of the episode. James Webb Telescope Space Program, imminent liftoff. Countdown has started at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. I invite you to come and watch the launch. Let's go ahead and watch this launch for James Webb Space Telescope. 9. And Europa Lander, 39%. So if we can actually get it to $15 billion, then we will actually have 0%. And hopefully this is a successful launch. We will know in about a few seconds whether this will be a successful launch. Around right here is whenever it might blow up. So, alright, we don't see a blow up. It's going into full thruster launch, and then we are now into space. Successful launch of the space telescope, James Webb Space Telescope. Amazing to see that our space program has not seen any failures as of yet in our program. So let's go to space research, and then let's go to Europa Lander, and then increase the budget, and then let's go ahead and give. We can double it by $13 billion. Let's go ahead and just give just an additional $5 billion to the space program. We're going to go to whenever that is completed, and we'll see what we can do. Neptune. What about Uranus? And one final one. Let's go ahead and call this the Father Sky. And then do we want an orbital probe, a space probe with the landing, manned orbital flight? Manned orbital flight, how much would that cost? Only $10 billion for manned orbital flight, which is going to take 389 months to get to Uranus. An exploration robot, space probe with landing. Let's go ahead and do a space probe. Space probe would be cool. That way we can study Uranus. It's going to be the first direct studying mission of Uranus. 206 months, not including preparation. Yeah, totally. Let's go ahead and send that over, and then we should be able to just approve the funding automatically. Wow, 20%. Go ahead and allow that, and I'm just going to double the funding again. $1.3 billion. It's going to give it about $2.5 billion, $2.6 billion actually. That way, we don't have any risk of failure on the mission. RNG just sometimes doesn't like you, so sometimes RNG makes the mission fail. So even if you have 0%, you sometimes can still have some sort of issue with it. We're also going to consider putting a permanent base on the moon. That's going to be very expensive for us. We actually need to do an exploration robot. We're going to call... what should I call this? What should I call this space program right here? And then for the permanent base on the moon, what should I call the permanent base there? I want to name it after one of my subscribers. So if I could actually... I'm going to name it after 2 subscribers. So 2 lucky people are going to have the permanent base named after them. Actually, okay, I have an idea. So for the rover, I need to send another space probe with an exploration robot. So we're gonna send that. So for the rover, I want to partner with one country on it. I need to do someone that's in the ESA. So anyone in Europe. So I need 2 people for the rover. So for the permanent base, I want 2 people. It doesn't matter what country you're from, but I want to name it like the just whatever I guess your YouTube name is. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go on to the end of this episode. I've been talking long enough about space programs. Guys, if you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to see more content like this, just hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any more content in the future, and then I will see you guys there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.